natural fibers, clothing, what we put on, what we carry around, what we wear, what we sleep with. This is a big thing for me. This is a big thing in our world. Really, really common right now is just cotton everything. Just cotton is cheap because it's subsidized and all that, and is really not helpful. The monocropping, you monocrop cotton over and over on one spot, it's going to deplete all of the nitrogen from the soil. So it's going to make it a lot harder to grow anything else there. So, I'm not so into it. Plus, as a fiber, when I wear it, it will just absorb moisture and it'll just sit there and it'll sit on you. And that can be really harmful when you're traveling. If you're wet and cold, you can get sick really easily. So it's really nice to have things like wool that will actually pull it off of you. There's an action called wicking that some synthetic socks and wool will actually do that, and is how it keeps an animal dry when it lives up on the mountain. Which is why some of my favorites, since I said mountain, the alpaca, the yak, they live up in the clouds. They live up where it's cold and wet. The yaks live in feet of snow. And they can get food out from under feet of snow. So their wool is really made to repel moisture. And when I pull a yak wool blanket out of a dryer, out of the washer, it's barely wet. You don't want to put it in the dryer. When I pull it out of a dryer, it's smaller, which sometimes is nice. A little shrink. If you live in your clothes, shrink it back to regular size. It's kind of nice if you time it just right. Another hemp will do that as well. It will pull the moisture off of you, so really pretty wonderful there. Also, it's the strongest fiber because the fiber runs the entire length of the plant. So hemp clothes last forever. They're great. Getting new hemp clothes, but making some out of a really high thread count, something for sheets probably. I'm going to show you partly. I'm processing this myself. So this one, the hoodie is alpaca, and I put a hemp hood on there. I'm packing up today. You gotta have the Sherpa gear. The handmade, it's got the Icaros. Yeah. And I got some good yak wool. I kind of been Gandhian out up here. And I took these yak wool blankets that I had separately and sewed them together. Now to make this big old tube, to make 2 tubes. I have 2 yak wool tubes. So they'll keep me pretty warm and dry, but it does add up to be quite a bit of space, which is part of the magic of the synthetics, that you can get synthetic gear that takes so little space, and it's so effective. But I get in a sleeping bag and I feel like I'm in a synthetic cocoon, and I'm gonna turn into a petroleum byproduct butterfly, and I don't like it. And I don't feel like I can breathe, like my skin can't breathe even when I wear them. I don't like to wear them, but they're so functional. And I got a yoga mat someone gave me at Yoga Fest. And I got these other tarps. Got wool, just everything. A yoga mat, and there's these foil. I got these heat reflective layers people gave to me. Got these synthetic backpacks. Got a rain jacket that's not so good, but right now it's the fall and I'm on Shasta. Like I'm going to Ashland next. Pacific Northwest fall, you really need those layers of wool, but also that top layer is so helpful, and Gore-Tex is absolutely the best if we're getting synthetic. A Gore-Tex fabric will not allow moisture in, but it is breathable and it will let moisture out. So if you get wet, the moisture can leave. It can evaporate when you get warm, but you won't get wet coming through. They tend to be of really high quality, really expensive, but made to withstand the elements and mountaineering and whatever comes. They tend to be pretty sturdy. I've really been dreaming about the Gore-Tex bivy sack and the jacket and the shoes. We have so many shoes in our world, and it's so easy to get shoes, and they're so abundant with these rubber soles. But so many people are still losing their homes, because they live in the forests that are getting cleared to make the rubber kind of plantations. And there's a lot of work that we gotta do that's convenient for some of us, but for some of us, not so much. One stinky pair of Vibrams, and I got some waterproof ones, but they got really stinky because they don't breathe. The Gore-Tex. Where are my Gore-Tex Vibrams? Jeez, guys. But so the petroleum byproducts, I wonder about hemp plastics. If we get hemp plastics going, if that can be healthier, totally an option, and maybe better for our planet. I'm not drinking tea. I need to be drinking tea. Where's my tea? Shungai water. Take a second. Got it together. The Shasta Shungai water. Oh my goodness. Yes, that's what I need all the time. And the first year I was up here, man, I was packing up backpacks full of kombucha bottles of glass, which, number one, you can't do in the National Forest. You can't have glass in the National Forest. You're not allowed to. And for two, it's really, really heavy when you're carrying a backpack full of water miles up the mountain. It gets really heavy when it's all in these little individual glass bottles, but glass is clean. I love the glass. Glass is clean and it lasts. Glass lasts. It is great. You can't have it in the woods. And it is so heavy. These plastics, they're so convenient. I totally get it. And they're so functional to have these plastic backpacks. Like to have a plastic something to wrap in to keep me warm and dry. But just the way we're going about it is not healthy, I don't think, the petroleum byproduct route. But I do totally appreciate the models that they bring, that these things don't rip and tear, they last better, they're lighter, strong. And we got a good model that just needs to evolve a little bit and integrate with some of our, we grow hemp. If you grow the hemp, I believe you could just do that, where we've grown cotton and depleted the nutrients, grow that to put the nitrogen back. Potatoes are great for that, clovers, cover crops. Peanuts, it's the George Washington Carver thing. Cool. But, and then, hemp fabric, some of the best. And then plastics, we can do plastics with it, you know? I feel like that could be just a lot healthier. This petroleum byproduct model, I don't feel like that's working. It doesn't feel good on me and around me, but it is so functional. And now 3D printers, we can just print anything. There's still this different resonance. If it's handmade, if it's real stuff. This one is a Sherpa jacket made by a Tibetan man who is no longer alive, so there are no more of these jackets. It's this great forest green, it's perfect. I manifested it like full on. And that kind of stuff comes with. If it's handmade and it's special, there's something to that. You know, but yeah, just some of it. Supply and demand. Some good wool, some good hemp. Plus the animals. I'm not into the domestication of them. And yeah, that's a little involved. But the just having animals that they poop on the land. It's good for the land. The alpacas and the yaks with their cloven hooves are really good at packing down the earth. You know, so that's really helpful. It's actually good for the land to have animals like that, or like goats, and you know, probably sheep. And it's nice to be able to support little families that, you know, doing their thing up in the mountains. And they make great, Tibetans make the best with these felted wools, and they're light but they're warm and they're great because they have to be, because they live on the roof of the world. So Sherpas just make the good gear. And maybe we learn a little something about a few helpful natural fibers that can be good for ourselves and the world. I'm still seeking, obviously, different solutions always, and not doing the best. My setup needs a whole lot of work, and so I get a tent. It's a plastic bubble I get in. I don't want to. It's so functional. It's always kind of like that. Do I need it? I don't know. I'm always alright without it somehow. Things work out. Everything works out. Well, well, thank you.